Hello, I'm here for our fourth talk, the last in this series, with Dr. Scott Jeffrey, and we've been joined by a skeleton behind. We've been moved rooms, but we're going to talk a bit about revisionism in the comic world and some of the images and the stories. So, could you tell us a bit about this image first? Tell me what it is that we're looking at.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the cover for issue 5 of a 7-part Marvel miniseries called Truth, Red, White, and Black. Sometimes known as Captain America: Truth, Red, White, and Black.
Now, I'm looking at, is that it's a black figure? Is it a silhouette, or is that actually a black man?
This is a black man.
And he's got numbers all over his features.
He does, and this issue is called The Math as well. The other key thing, we'll get into a bit more detail about it, but we can see the kind of the background. Most of the covers of Truth, Red, White, and Black the backgrounds are some variation on the American flag. So in this one we've got a couple of the black stars, and then the stripes. In this instance have become, I guess we could read those as kind of rivers of blood.
Yeah.
If we wanted to, certainly. So a lot of the covers of the series kind of play around with the American flag.
It's the contrast with the red, white, and blue, the Star Spangled Banner that they sing about as well in their national anthem. Okay, so can you tell us a bit about the story and how it is revisionism?
Yeah. Well, basically, as I said, it's a Captain America story. So we get Captain America emerges just after Superman. Effectively, Marvel's it wasn't called Marvel then; it's Marvel's first superhero. Incredibly popular. Captain America was selling about 1 million copies a month during the Second World War, being shipped out to troops, and a fairly unproblematic figure. Although interestingly, it's probably worth pointing out that Captain America, again, a very Jewish industry, the early comic book industry. So Captain America, the first issue, he's punching Hitler on the jaw a good year before America actually enters
the war. So this is what, 1940?
Yes, 39.
39.
Sorry, so yeah, year and a half.
Captain America, just for people watching this, Captain America, he's just an ordinary guy. He's not muscly or anything, but they give him some kind of a serum or a drug, and it turns him into, well, eventually it turns him into this kind of super strength.
Yes, he's a kind of he's a skinny weakling, classic kind of skinny weakling. The film actually kind of gets that across very well. They use CGI to give him this tiny body, and then he's given the serum. Suddenly he becomes a super soldier. You know, he's massive. He's very durable. He can leap very high, heals very quickly, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So that's the idea. There is an element of wish fulfillment to that idea, I suppose, that we could immediately gain superpowers, but very much kind of tied up with an American ideal, so at least initially. Those early comics, certainly. I think it's probably a bit of context is probably helpful. So what happens after the Second World War? Superhero comics fall out of fashion. Captain America is revived in the 1960s. And then very often is used as a kind of as a way of interrogating the values of the 1940s.
Yeah. Because
suddenly he's a man out of time, right? He's been on ice, effectively, literally, for 20 years. So the world is very different.
The world's moved on
to him. So this comic kind of follows in that trend, basically, of using Captain America to interrogate the past, the meanings of the past, but very specifically to interrogate Captain America's own origins, if you like, in the military-industrial complex,
now,
such as it is.
In the first when we talked about the birth of Superman, it was 1938, so we've got this Superman, we've got Captain America. They're good guys. Superman has extraterrestrial origins, gets the power off the sun. Captain America, from an injection of some scientific method, able to do that. Now we're skipping forward, and this is from 2003.
Yes.
And they're starting to look more closely. It's a very simple situation, basically good guy, bad guy, but it's now become more complicated. Why is that?
Yes. Partly it's an awareness. You know, one of the ironies of Superman, or even the Golden Age generally, the birth of the superhero, is that at the same time as you've got this kind of vision of the Superman as good guy, you've also got the Nazi vision of the master race, right? It's the same idea, superior, in inverted commas, human beings. So that's very problematic. Contemporary comics are more aware of that than comics of the Golden Age.
Yeah.
By necessity, readers are older, creators are older, we know more about the past. So this series in particular, Truth, Red, White and Black, kind of problematizes Captain America's origin effectively, and points out the gist of the story is that before Captain America was given the serum, and the serum was still in an experimental stage, it was used on black soldiers who were affected. They were taken away from their families. No one knew about the experiments. In the story, most of the soldiers die as a result of the treatment. Only one survives, and he ends up with brain damage by the end of the story. But the gist is, these black soldiers they're the guinea pigs. Effectively, we're not going to give it to a white guy straight away. We'll give it to these disposable black soldiers. What's interesting about it is based in a very real event, the Tuskegee syphilis experiments took place in the 1930s, where black soldiers were injected with syphilis and then untreated. Effectively, doctors wanted to see what would happen if the disease was left to run its course. And those experiments went on for a very long time. The public didn't know about them until the 70s, I think. So very real. And equally, if we think about Hitler and kind of eugenics was a very popular movement. It wasn't just Germany.
Just describe just for the students watching the eugenics, the whole concept.
Eugenics is the science or pseudoscience, really, of selective breeding. So the idea is there are two forms of eugenics: positive eugenics, where you get people with desirable traits to breed with each other, which the Nazis also did in the pleasure factories, as they were called, and negative eugenics, where you at one end you sterilise people that you don't want to breed to pass on the genetic material. Sterilisation was very common in Britain and America
at that time.
Germany obviously took negative eugenics to its logical extreme and killed 6 million Jews, is the upshot of that idea. So this miniseries is very much about that. I mean, if you look at the cover, it's called The Map. For a reason. The numbers written on the face they don't just speak about the kind of the math of the story, if you like, the notion that, well, these black soldiers are expendable. It also very clearly kind of alludes to the Holocaust and the tattoos that Jewish prisoners would have been given at the time. So I think the link there is very explicit, effectively. And that notion again of the math. When people, we talk about the final solution for kind of very cold-hearted. Well, these are the people we want to get rid of. What is the most, in inverted commas again, kind of rational way of doing this? So this notion that these very horrific, inhuman crimes are very often dressed up in this kind of very rational, mathematical, if you like, terminology. So there's a lot going on, I think, in that cover, in the series generally. I really recommend actually looking at the other covers as well to see how they kind of play around.
If we Google, just Google Truth, Red, White and Black, and then Google Images, we should get the various issues.
I'll send you a link actually. There's a picture with all of them, so you can kind of see how they play around with it.
Okay, thank you for that.
No problem.